人间之我穷高报没报金没报钱报没报当我没报中没报他的定金没指望你心报作业三界忙街当报的悄悄路希望做那归些你也你些只在看做那偏把钱啊浪些你也这点顿住在看到养到点白头那把滚的那做的事年对相由心别做些三界用的老桥走路朝我南沙界少见家是公滚多上边是到滚南着老桥道路西北界出现没多长日绕你上界先多没得不我也着看新老学报学一当过着那面的看你要大要没上界去当做界上老将就把多大年纪大概去心里边上界着老看见如果学上界去当做界上老将就把多大年纪出去大概去心里边上着老看见上界如果学上界去当做界上将就把多大年纪出去大概去心里边上着老看见上界如果学老当老面没当面去养不家亲老师去了家吧呢上界顺把的对心里就对外去的北京今年的些对外家亲原来人家3月的就把新鲜把的了确实太有规划第二边人家现在村上也没有把被当年了把都了对外孙年节那么他也该当路当路应该主办的他们也跟我们当主把工业上介绍把他们家该多大概去的多我老说是讲他们这些都是脱下了那么把样大把所有三界就恐怕是不去进来家长托把它叫第一都提把金杯去3年没工了工业人把那2把撒到的3把绕修
Please listen to the teachings by generating the motivation, thinking that for the benefit of all mother sentient beings, that I must attain the unsurpassable, perfect and complete state of enlightenment. And in order to attain the state, that I'm going to listen to the Mahayana teachings.
Oh, yeah, that. Kaisan Kawale is na. Kasuri. And the Sanje Chuso Kamda Chanchuta, Yanden Sanje Chile Tamadi. Then you go in Lugin Doduna, Doji in Nedin Didako, said the guitar. Dochi ne dumbote ta rukai kasore sanje japsum la sawaki tai ne dumbote shorop to denge kona ma shet to sembare
what we completed was first stanza which says if condensed, the body of the entire commentary consists of the following 7 Vajra points: the Buddha Dharma, the assembly, the element, enlightenment, qualities, and then Buddha activity. So a brief sort of presentation of these 7 Vajra points were completed in the last 2 days.
Oh yeah, that dinani dochi shiku ginzendela ne dumbotela dochi ne dugu shikala dochi ke besa shewa mishipala drowa inzan juba inzan Tante, Tenashi, Cheni, and Jaja, Kasure, Ne Dumbote, Ote Teang, and the Kasure, Kasure, Datogi, Dada Topagi, and Jaja Ne Dumbote, Datok Tamji, 多尊早把咱就解明了吧，是吧？看说的这样多把去，天南把顶不的，多去是个现在的看的人说，这一张，俺的就尊早比出去解明了吧，多半讲，俺的看说多尊早有出去多把明了吧一张，俺的多去那对多去些24个的，啊。
The reason why these 7 points have been referred to as the 7 Vajra points is because, like the term Vajra, which denotes indestructibility, indivisibility, likewise, these subject matter of these 7 points then has that same connotation in the sense that by mere words and expression that it is inexpressible, and that that just by mere concept alone that it is not phantom, that you cannot devise realize all of these points just by way of concept. One cannot complete the understanding of these 7 points.
因为真的，达到个到处，俺你看说的，到处用是早有触及，俺你看说的绝对没吧，绝对别让心一般是看的是呢。这一到处，这一就是早比去，当把你扩张给那种早比出去绝对没把上，多半讲。当把开始到今年都不提给，俺那到处早有出去，多把满人吧。
So basically, it is saying that the me is by stating that these are the 7 Vajra points is that basically just through words and expression alone, or just by conceptualization alone, through these methods, there is no way one can have the complete understanding of these 7 points.
因此，当我那看的人是呢，俺那爬板娘的说上的，俺那日把桥啊，爬板娘下的，爬板娘下那把没多比一些给日把桥啊，日把桥啊，因为达到个到处早已出去阶段把印章。俺那是在地看说的，多解释是吧？
So basically, what is the quality of the mind that can realize these 7 points? Is an Arya being's, exalted wisdom of individual discrimination. That kind of equipoise of such a mind. Number me topas transfer. Tanda nyamcha number me topa.
Nyamcha number me topi yishiki topa chawa yinchi.
Yishiki topa. Number me topa issue. Number me topa teknisla.
Number me topa sena.
Nyamcha number me.
Tong pa ni khora me do shendu me topa.
So it has to be an exalted knower. Which a non-conceptual mind, an exalted knower, that it is of an equipoise of such an exalted knower that can know completely these 7 Vajra points.
看得起来是个人是啦，两下那把没多比些生个的，当年我是都多比一些的啦，两下那把没多比些是个话的。
So when we talk about such an equipoise, which is a non-conceptual exalted mind, then it is referring to a mindset that directly realizes emptiness.
做切话的啦，你做。 卡是的，当年我是都多别爬白两下一些的啦，你两下那把没多把是，两下那把没多把的啦，你当年我是都多别爬白两下一些，因为俺哥哥阿妈的，是吧？
한마디 해주신다.
돈이 무슨 도비 이시되라. 냠산 돈이 무슨 도비 남다 가서 남바 미도비 이시되라. 돈이라 냠바샤비 냠샤 이시고 요거 말해.
돈이라 냠바샤비
냠샤 이시고 말해서.
돈이라 냠바샤비 냠샤
이시고 말해서.
인고 말해서. So although we say that this equipoise, non-conceptual equipoise of an Arya being is a mind that directly realizes emptiness, but it is not necessary for it to be an exalted knower which has an equipoise of the direct realization of emptiness.
안에 유동반이 도수 용수 조유 수기 도바인바 코랑 아니 유지 내수 치다를 임바 대달 마도 아니 유를 추하메바.
So exalted wisdom, exalted knower directly realizing emptiness. You know, the exalted knower that has realized emptiness then knows this object emptiness in a complete way, exactly how it is, without any kind of mistake to it.
다 도바진 속에 아니 도수 용수 돈이 코랑게 도수 용수 좋아 많이 바카레서나 돈이기 유동바 니기 내수 다 튀바 도바 많이 바 도바기 텐지 지비관에 도바出시 유라 추바.
So in the case of a conceptual mind, when it apprehends emptiness, this object emptiness is not known in a complete way. It's not known in a way in which it accords with its mode of existence, because these conceptual minds then has mistakes to it, because it knows its object emptiness in a generic way.
난 되게 도치 내 등가 동반이 레베스나 돈이 말해와 많이 나양 도치 내 등보대 땡뒤 잠바 안에 전담 댐비 채바도 전에 댐바 전담 댐바스나 돈이 그 채바도 전에 댐바 인장 아니 다 가려서는 영산 남바 메도비 이식이 안에 도수 조비 수지 도바 인기 나도 그제도 매바 인장 안에 콜라탄다 카르소리다 도치 스탠디 댐바 말해.
But you can, these 7 Vajra points are not, not emptiness. Although they are not emptiness, but they are presented from the point of view of ultimate truths. And so it is sort of because it is presented with that kind of distinguishment of the characteristic of emptiness, so we say that it can be known completely only by that kind of equipoise, non-conceptual equipoise, and therefore cannot be known just through words and concepts.
아니 가서를 다도 마세 아니 돈이 도비 퇴중 그 시람 돈이 도비 삼중 그 시람 돈이 도비 공중 그 시람 오시 시러선 대장 아니 도수 용수 조유 수지 도바 많이 봐.
So these with regards to emptiness, then emptiness is that you cannot realize just relying on words alone. With regards to realizing emptiness, then you have to generate the wisdom of having, the wisdom of having listened to the teachings on emptiness, the wisdom of having, reflected upon those points of presentations, the wisdom of having meditated upon those points, and even on the basis of generating these types of wisdom based on listening, reflecting, and meditation, still, one does not know emptiness in its complete form.
가서래 퇴중 그 셰럽 생각인데 간대질라서 그래 다 조수럽 기튼 퇴위 또래 중에 셰럽라 아니 퇴중 그 셰럽 세자 조수럽 기튼 300 또래 중에 셰럽라 삼중 그 셰럽 세로 조 아니 가르서나 가서래 띵에지 고사 3년 다섯 배나 띵에지 공부도를 중에 셰럽 야나 3년지 3년지 내도 연재 공부도를 중에 셰럽 어쩌니 퇴상 공성기 셰럽 세대 조다 수럽지 퇴상 공부도를 중에 셰럽 다들 제가 예를 들어 인상 퇴상 공성기 셰럽 순보대 아니 가서래 똑바매도 무슨이란 말이 무슨 매바 인상 아니 돈이 또비 퇴와 퇴중 삼중 공중 선보 대기 다저 시와 나시 전에 돈용 무슨도 마도바 인상 권인한 그 저와다 제바.
So when we talk about the wisdom of listening, the wisdom of reflecting, the wisdom of meditation, how that is understood is that when one has the understanding of the meaning of the scriptures based solely on having heard the explanation of the teachings, so that kind of wisdom, that which is generated on the strength of just having heard the meaning of the scriptures through the explanations or through the teachings, that is the wisdom of listening. And likewise, when one's understanding of the scriptures, when one's wisdom, understanding the meaning of the scriptures comes about solely on the basis of having reflected, analyzed those teachings, then those are referred to as being the wisdom of reflection, having analyzed the teachings that one has heard. And then when the wisdom of the understanding of the scriptures, when the wisdom understanding the meaning of the scriptures comes about slowly through meditating upon it, through concentration, absorption on those points, then we say, that is the wisdom of understanding. So all of these wisdom of listening, reflecting, meditation are all conceptual minds. And they are not direct realizations. They cannot be. They do not have that kind of direct insight into emptiness, and all of these wisdoms still have duality to it.
Oh yeah, that thing does you get the 20 that thing, Jella, Casarum, 도저히 내딘디다 고스 디다란전이지 제자와 고름신도 순지 제외도 레실란에 내수 리자데 신이 lon된 자시 예월래 세대기 달류 단지 류데 다진 광도 샤바기 뒤에 단지 류 샤초고 말이 와 도진해 တင်ပါ오 대단들 단지 디양 단지 류가 나라 두고 한 말이
So this is in general the meaning behind why we have added the term Vajra to these 7 points. So in presenting the body of the text, then you have the explanation of the body of the commentary as consisting of these 7 Vajra points.
아니 제바이나 아니 땡제데 아니 가서를 자자 참바 공부기 랑가를 잡아래담 아니 양 근데 아니 현지 제수단에 잡아래 세나 아니 다텔라 가서래 랑기 랑가 잡아 마인바 아니 랑스니와 방아텔라 저와 랑스니와 바랑기 잡 랑가를 잡아 마인바 오 랑스니와 방아텔라 대다란전이지 제자와 고림신도 손지 제외도 내실안에 내수 리자데시 가나 손지 왕주 제외 주의 도당 파바사 주의 도라 소와기 아니 제수전에 샤바 아니 오전 제수전에 샤바더라 대다란자니 바 고림신도 손지 제위도 세랑가 마이바 아니 손지 제 손지 안주고 시위 도당 사치위 도에 제수단에 샤바데 송고에 말해.
So then the next point is to say, is to state that that this presentation of the 7 Vajra points is not something that Maitreya composed on his own. That is something that is attributed as Maitreya's own composition, but stating basically the sutra sources from which these Vajra points have been derived. What are the sutra sources that it follows? So that's the next point, reference to the sutras that constitute their sources. And so basically then it says that it is derived from the 2 main sources, which is the sutra requested by the king Dharanishwara, and then the sutra of the 10 grounds, the 10 bhumis. So and then also that how this explanation is presented is not in some sort of random order, but that it follows the sequence of the given meaning. So that's the next point, referring to the sources of the sutras and the presentation of the sequence of these points in the above order, which presents them in a logical sequence. These Vajra points should be known to be derived from the sutra requested by King Dharanishwara, and the first 3 stem from its introductory chapter, and the latter 4 from its chapters on the properties of those who possess the understanding of the victorious ones.
Oh yeah, that's when you 다티다란제 제자와 세가라 산제라 소와 산제다 쳐다 군들라 소와게 랑랑게 투모마인바 투모마인비 아니 군조숨지 랑신 땜베 아니 대다게 랑게 천이 랑랑게 랑게 천이다 아니 내가 강게 제수 제와 당 편진 민자와 당 아니 남바 마샤바스나 코름 마주바당 오다 자질라 숨바 나신 시템바이베 대다란제 니지 세자와 고름이 신도 시와 고름 신도 다내 간데 그 된다게 간데 땡그래서나 lin실라네 내 숨을 잔 의자데 시안이 론된 제시 예와래 세가라 아니 lin실 레우라 아니 대우 대접타도 군조 숨보디 군조 숨지 내대 니실라네 내숨을 차대시 오니 대시와 사마점비 책체위가나 사마드니다 가소래 네 아니 감당 창주당 연대당 칠레대 아니 내 시오티니 아니 가소래 가르된 바레스나 나마 내 시오되게 아니 창주 셈바게 감정지然后我是强去三八抗庄稼然后但是看我是庄外情感的加上强去三八挺做给是吧强就给的庄的我是庄稼的提前准备单让心来的是个的提前准备单让心来的是呢但强就准备决定我让做强就给什么给了阶段三八안 창조그 셈 줄에 뒤뒤가나 아니 되게 주지 셈지 치니 티진 주비 때라시네리 관에 그래서 티진 주비 때리 오 된다위 티제기 정말 티제기 이르데 정정어데 강장고래서나 정자데 가소래 티진 주비 때라시지네리체 티 정제되라 안 취出去요래是吧因此lin실라네 내숨 비자니 신이 론된 제시 예와래 시와라 야야 안디 벌순나
대진 두배 된 러시네
티진 루비 때 라신네리다 라신네리 있으나 가가체
칼이 투주어렸습니다. 즉 투주어렸습니다.
종알치 비춰져라 투지도 될 텐데 정말 내용을
in this sutra requested by this king Dharanishwara, then what is presented in this sutra is the unique presentation of the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. Explaining presenting or explaining what is unique about the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, what is the nature of these three objects of refuge, the rare and sublime three, their sort of characteristics and the way in which one follows after the other and so forth. So in the introductory chapter, then you have the presentation of the first three of the Vajra points, and in the latter four, then you have the presentation of the the last four Vajra points, which is the element, enlightenment, qualities, and activities. So these last four Vajra points then is what is employed in order to purify the element or the Buddha nature. So the Buddha nature, in order to accomplish the Mahayana state, then you have the naturally abiding. This naturally abiding Buddha nature is the basis for accomplishing the Mahayana state, and what is employed are the 60 dharmas or the 60 phenomena to purify this naturally abiding Buddha nature.
Oh yeah. 가소리 감정제 그 최고라 마용 거래 감정제에서에 안에 감지 치마 정체되라 라 지제지 감되기 안에 치마 장발라 때네 아니 가소리 감되지 마 신도 안에 치마단 차디 아니 타를 치마 타다단 차바기 안에 산제공 원이고 두고 와라 인상 감정제기 치마되라 감정제기라 So that the dharmas or the phenomena, the 60 phenomena that purifies the element which is with defilements, in order to separate the defilements. Separate away the defilements from this element, then you have these 60 dharmas that are employed, and that will be explained later. And when this element is purified of the defilements, then eventually, then this element is transformed into the Buddha of holy body of nature, the Swabhavakaya holy body. 那心灵论点解释也话来说的，那是我念他们修的康当，安尼长久当，原点当起来的，安尼长久生活当提醒起比也话来点把来用过来是吧？有康当，康的干了，安尼康的庄稼康的了，长久生活的，就是甚至全一点话去，原点当。 안에 가르쳐서 연대 창주 산재그 사이 티신시와 티신시바고 연대 빵바라도 연대 시에체 와 창주 빵바라도 창주 빵바라도 창주체 연대 안에 가소리 차단 남밤에 비 연대세 그 안에 또 주다 미지바실랑 찬순지 잔이라 소화체 틀에 안에 산재지 최고 体力超准备写的说话，考上学完那些钱呢，我的大家看着人生呢，他妈的强求生活，他提醒起比自己要点把来，用个人生的啦，心理论点解决要来送来把的，
So the last 4 Vajra points, of the element, enlightenment, qualities, and activities, then basically explain the many different classifications of what the bodhisattvas and tathagatas are about. When we talk of the element, then the Vajra point of the element, then it talks about the bodhisattvas, the ultimate reality of the mind, the dhammadhatu of the mind element. And when the Vajra point of the element then talks about the state of Buddhahood, the perfection of all the abandonments, what has been, removed, abandoned, and what has been realized. And the Vajra point of the qualities then talk about the 10 powers, the 4 fearlessness, states of fearlessness, the 18 unique qualities attributed to the Buddha, the 32 major marks that adorn a Buddha's holy body. And the Vajra point of the activities then talk about the Dhamma, the state of the Dhammakaya, that Dhammakaya's exalted wisdom, which is specifically the exalted wisdom accomplishing all activities. So the next point where it where it refers to all the sutra sources, saying in which particular sutra it talks about the element of Buddha nature, in which particular sutra this other Vajra point is presented. So if we go through that, then it's going to take a long time, just constantly referring back to all the sutra sources. So we are going to skip that point. So we'll just go to these 60 phenomena, which is the key to purifying the element of the Buddha nature. When presenting, these 60 qualities, which purifies the element, when by these 60 qualities, by generating these 6 qualities, then this element, which is with defilements, is completely purified. In presenting what the 60 qualities are, one comes to understand the element one comes to understand what the element is all about. The element or meaning the Buddha nature is all about. One comes to know the details of the naturally abiding Buddha nature, the ever-developing Buddha nature, the developing Buddha nature. Then these elements or this Buddha nature, which is with defilements, then one comes to know about it through knowing what are the qualities that purify these defilements.
印章庄稼给看出去要把印章，但看讲话却把给洗，安尼卡说的看没有过的，庄稼看没有过的是。
庄稼看。
庄稼讲话庄稼让去。
So
看没有过的意思，那庄稼给讲话的前面个看没有过的意思，看的意思庄稼给看没有呗，看是庄稼给去出去也呗，庄稼给看没有过有过的看的是呢，庄稼给看的了，他就空的去把那些一些的，他妈他大给用是他不的巧位，对，安尼什么叫个규지，什当，什么叫个규지，让心来的一个。 심장이 심지 땡기 가서래 이제 땡유기를 뒤새기를 아니 심장이 주지 심 댐배 동바 랑신 내리데 다 장자딘 말이야.
Because there are these 60 qualities that are the purifiers, so there has to be the basis of an element that which is purified, and the basis of the element that which is purified is that element which is with defilements, and for this to be completely purified, then one needs to know as sentient beings. Then we have within us. The developing Buddha nature, which is a compositional factor, and then we have what is known as the naturally abiding Buddha nature, which is the non-associated compositional factor, which basically refers to the mind, that which is empty of true existence, this naturally abiding Buddha nature. So this is the basis of the element or the Buddha nature, which is with defilements, that which is to be purified.
Oh yeah, tenderess semjengi semdang, ta dishegi, ani rangshinji tongbi. 심라신이 되게 전담된바 되니 아니 가서 정말 자롱당 산재지 이식 이run기 연단다 된바 연단다 된바 인장 다고 장자대 말 장자 또 이run기 연단다 된바
sentient beings' mind, that which is a compositional factor, as well as this mind which is empty of intrinsic existence, this ultimate truth, this emptiness of the mind, then this sentient mind, then we can say is purifiable, is purifiable. Can be purified of its defilements, and can generate all the qualities of Buddhahood.
아니 연된 기run당 아니 처만 자run기 셈당 아니 셈미된 배동화되면아 아니 정지 미대바 인상 갑디 정지 그 최초지 땜배 장자 아니 가서래 쌤다 장샤 라신 내리당 아주리당 쌤자다 여바 태바.
So, because sentient being's mind is purifiable and has the capacity for generating all the qualities, then that in itself then substantiates the basis that which is purified, the basis of the element, that which is purifiable. And not only purified, but having the capacity for generating all of the qualities, and it is so because of because of that mind being empty of true existence, and because it is empty of true existence, so all the purifier qualities, all the purifier 60 qualities become applicable. To this basis of the mind, which is the basis to be purified.
Oh, Teremato, Semjengi Guna, Ranshin number Tabala, Ani Lubuji Chima Tataki Yemi, Tabani Dancena, Ranshiji Tabatan, Lubuji Chime Tabi Tabani Dan, Toma Mebane, Yoba Kelana. Ani 루부지 치마당라 라시 이템에 통마 매바나 캐 타바 캐라나 아니 디딩도 루부지 치마 정지기 아니 취추지 캐라야 매바래 좋아 장자고 통마 매바나 여잡네 루부지 치마다 라시 지나바 타바 캐라서나 아니 장시 정지기 남샤 대매바
곧됐어
당부대도서 semje 탐제 그 유라 랑신지 팀에 랑신지 넘버 타바당 루부지 팀에 넘버 타바데 토마 매반이 예나 다 semje 유라 랑신지 팀마다 루부지 팀마니까 타바래 타바인자 루부지 팀마데 정제기 최 정제기 최종부터 봐 너만의 타타인자
So if sentient beings' mind were by nature pure, and if sentient beings' mind were purified of all the adventitious defilements, and if sentient beings' mind were endowed with these two states of purification, then these 60 purifying qualities would not be applicable.
Oh, 대인상 가서 감대어르시비 인보 샤디 잠바 토마 매바나 루부당 라시지 팀에 넘버 타비 아니 가서를 타반이된지 인지 토마 매바나 여바체 그 내가기 아니 루부기 팀마 타면 가서 루부지 팀마다 잡아랬으나 아니 감러를 루부지 팀에 나바나 타차와 인장 아니 콜을 팀마 정체 태미 정체 밑에 봐 인장 다든지 토마 매바나 감더시비 인보 여바 인장 아니 가서래 타반이된지 인타도 토마네 여바대와데 밑에 봐다 뒤뜨고래
If we say that this Buddha nature, the Tathagata Garbha, if this Buddha nature was of sentient beings, Buddha nature, the Tathagata Garbha of sentient beings, since beginningless lifetimes was endowed with these two states of purification, and that and that now temporarily, it's defiled by these adventitious defilements. If if we say like this, then also that also does not sound right, because if you say that from the very beginning it was if that Buddha nature since beginningless lifetimes was already endowed with these two states of purification, but temporarily now it's defiled by these defilements, by these temporary or adventitious defilements, then you cannot you cannot say that as well. Tanda samjingi yugi thoma
samjingi yula thoma mebana dorsibi nyimbo yawa ranu chibachen. Right? Dorsibi nyimbo de rangshi ji chime tabata lubu ji chime namba taba niga yimba dona. Right? That
nekap
ku chima ta tsara yinzang chima jonje ki cheya joya mare nega wala lubu ji chima yawa sisana ane tendra wadi kansa de chime tabata chime mataba niga shako.
Because the reason why this statement is not applicable, then you would have to say that this particular sentient being was purified and also not purified, in that context.
Da 대신도 가서래 삼정그 주지 삼지 천이 그 오라 안에 그만 매장 아니 루부지 저마다 자와 인선나양 다지가 말이
삼기
천이 공오라 아니 그만 매장 루부지 저마다 자와 인선나
지가 말했어.
뒤쪽에 말해서 당해.
So also this statement is not correct to say that that the dharma dhatu of the sentient being's mind, the ultimate reality of sentient being's mind, does not have defilements. Although the ultimate reality of sentient being's mind is without defilements, but it has temporary, it is with temporary defilements. That statement is also not right.
간드시고래서나 삼정의 지지 천이진 오라 아니 그만 매바세디 딘데스 샤바이나 그러마 차소 녀모바당 아니 딘생기 또배 치다를 시행바기 진단다 tum바 치다를 시행바기 진단다 tum바 덴바 주바 시행바기 진단다 tum바 아니 가서 심지 내루라 마슈바라잖아 right 지거래 심용 가서 심정의 춘이라 춘이중오라 정말 매시에데 right 차소 녀모바당 딘진진 넘버 또배 치다의 현비 진당당 tum바 안 심지 라시라 마슈바라잖아 지거래
So if you interpret that that the mental continuum of the sentient, the ultimate reality of sentient beings' mind, that which is with defilements, that which is without defilements, if you understand that statement to be in the context of being free from all the delusions, from all the afflictions like attachment and so forth, understand that in the context of being free from grasping at true existence, that kind of conceptual mind, grasping at true existence, that just as how these minds cling to its object of apprehension, then that this ultimate reality of the mind is not engaged in such a mode. It is not engaged in such a mode. If that is how you understand that, when we say that the ultimate reality of the mind is without defilements, in this context, then it is right.
我谈的真正马下吧，他的希望那些些，正当的都把身体上心了，马修了，马下吧，全有可能给我了，他妈没把谁生了，俺的身边给全有可能给我他妈没生了，俺的身边给全有的他妈的帮帮人吧，是吧
？So this is the only correct way to understand. That the ultimate reality of sentient being's mind is without defilements can be understood only in this kind of way.
인자 섬정기 섬지 춘이라 춘이대 치매 방바이나.
So when we talk about sentient beings, ultimate reality of the mind being free of defilements, then it should be understood in the context of being free from the conceptual mind of grasping at true existence, from the delusional minds of attachment and so forth, just as how these mindsets then cling to its object of apprehension, that this mind is not engaged in such a manner, in such a mode, is not engaged in such a manner. This is how one should understand the ultimate reality of the mind being free of defilements in this kind of context. Now to explain, when we say that the ultimate reality of the mind is free of defilements, how this should be understood is in this kind of context, then it is right. But then to say that now comes the second part of the explanation, what's the mistake to understand it in any other way other than this? Why is there a mistake?
심지 춘이지 오라 트마메 시바들라 다 샤단이 와레
상부디 차수
단다 샤송아 다 심지 춘이라 오라 트마메 시가 아니 심지 춘이 코난 공 트마메 바랑라 되나 아니 심지 춘이 공 오라 트마 빵이나 아니 심지 오라 트마메 고레.
You see, if we say that sentient beings, ultimate reality of the mind is without defilements, then you have to say the ultimate reality has totally abandoned defilements. That nature of the mind is free of defilements. You have to say that nature of the mind is free of defilements. Is it clear? It's clear? Because if you say the ultimate reality of the mind is free of defilements, then if you understand it, if you say why the statement can be wrong is because if you say that the ultimate reality of the mind is without defilements, then you would have to say that the nature of the mind is completely free of defilements. That nature of that mind is free of because if the ultimate reality of the mind is without defilements, that nature of the mind requires also to be without defilements, to be free of defilements. So then you see the mistake in that first statement. But but how to understand? If you understand it in the context of being free of attachment, being free of the delusional minds of the conceptual mind, grasping at true existence and its mode of apprehending objects. In that way, if you say it is free of defilements, then it's right. But to say that the ultimate reality of the mind is free of defilements, if you just accept that alone, then you would be also referring to the fact that the ultimate reality of the mind is free of defilements, which means that the nature of the mind is completely free or removed of defilements. So because because you're talking on the basis of one entity which has both the conventional and the ultimate, so it's the same thing you're talking about.
아니 루부지 처마다 자와레스 라와세나 다 셈용어를 처마매 봐서 거라 셈 코랑경어를 처마매 봐미나 아니 셈다 셈그 춘이 유고데 산제수 타에 산제레베 아니 라신지 처마 나바 타바 셈지 춘이 칸 루부지 처마야 나바 타바 인장 처마니단 타바들라 산제마수 요 말이 봐
Simgi ngola chime namba thapa yujin.
ngola chime namba thasana. Da semda simji chiniga chime namba thapa inda rashiji chime namba thapa ni res. Da lobuji chime namba thapa ina chimaniga dan thapa inza da zoyu sanje yingba thai gyento sanje.
So if we say that that the nature of that the nature of the mind is free of defilements and it is also free of the adventitious defilements, then you would have to say that the individual is enlightened, because anyone who is who's purified of these two has to be a Buddha, and so when we say that the nature of the mind is pure, when the nature of the mind is pure, then you have to say it is also pure that it is also pure with respect to its adventitious defilements as well. In our system, we would say that the nature of the mind is free of defilements, but the mind and the ultimate reality of the mind, or the emptiness of the mind, is with defilements.
아니 트마 종지기 최대다기 sem지딩기 트마 장와 여바 인장 아니 라시네리당 연유기 대다 장자인바데 대기와레.
So you see, if the defilements existed in the very nature of our mind, then those defilements would not be removable in any way. But because because the defilements does not exist in the nature of the mind, so all the purifier qualities are applicable to it. So we say that the defilements does not exist in the mind, but the mind and the ultimate reality of the mind is with defilements. And because it does not exist, because those defilements do not exist in the very nature of the mind, so all the purifier qualities are applicable on this basis of the mind, which is applicable on the naturally abiding Buddha nature and the developing Buddha nature.
통마 아니 심지 주마단 제와지디가라 림지 야 잔디 참바 통마 아니 가소레 덴진 문주와당 문주와 기타베 타바출레 되네 신이 야 리가라 아니 가소레 덴주꾼다 덴바좀 바가 타지도 덴바 주와레 냠바기 덴진다 타베 타바토레 통남금 남들가 되네야 리디가 관람게 내가 야좀바 신도 주가나 아니 니모비티바 타바이 토베 되네야 지 산제살아 아니 신도 남다스 마다 타바다 신도 남다 고르미시 산제 창주 선발라 세가라 마다베 내가 정 말한 주지 친이 대체 정말 탐색 마다 바데 자 되네 남지 장장지기 남지기 제바 주니 아니 말한줄 남야 다도 뭐라마 등거로 와 남지 제바 주발라 때네 아니 릭세디 아니 대진 그 사람톡 다마 뭐다 된다 배시 등거리 대진 사람은 토니 아니 졸람 야 토디가라 아니 문주와 답에 답아토에 대내 통남네 통남기네 통남 바제 메랑기 딘즈군다기 nhiệm 통방기 nhiệm 치디가라 남로라 토디 잠바 아니 딘딘 심지 친이기 아니 딘즈군다다 답에 답아토에 대내마다 사등기 내가라 사탐번에 딘비 파텔라 아니 딘진 현재 밑에 사자바토번에 딘진 현재 답에 답아토에
마다사둔라
마다사둔이 사자바토바티잖아 사등기 내가 사자바토바잖아 딘진 현재 답에 답아토에 니몸 답에 답아토에 대내 산재기 사타베 감토지삼바 시르다 답에 답아토에 정직이 취해다 그 처마름신 장발라 때나 다 두스마 용구하래 저다 되면 어때 배요하래 배도 마시 좋아
So as one goes to the graduated stages of purification, then first what is purified is the gross or manifest forms of grasping at true existence, and then from that, then you get to purify the imputed forms of grasping at true existence. Then when one attains, this is when one attains the path of seeing, and then on the path of meditation, then one gets to purify all the defilements of the afflictions, and then on the grounds of Buddhahood, then you attain the state of complete and utter or extreme, complete purification. So you have the state of being totally unpurified, not purified at all. Like in our own case, as ordinary sentient beings, then we would be the example of someone who is not purified at all. Then to someone that is not purified, when the application of the path is applied, when the path is applied to an unpurified individual, then the first phase is awakening the lineage in you, awakening your Mahayana lineage, and then entering the path of accumulation, entering the path of preparation, and then as you from there, then you begin to abandon the gross or the manifest forms of grasping at true existence. Then when one generates the uninterrupted path of seeing, then one is able to abandon whatever needs to be abandoned on the path of seeing. And then when one attains the liberated path on the path of seeing, then one is able to abandon the imputed forms of the grasping at true existence. Then you purify what are referred to as the first seven bhumis, which are referred to as the impure bhumis, and then on the between which is between the 7th and the 8th bhumi, then from the 8th to the 10th bhumi, then you gradually, step by step, then come to abandon the innate form of grasping at true existence. Then, and of course, on the last of the 10th bhumi, then you attain the grounds of Buddhahood, in which you are completely and extremely purified, thoroughly purified.
Oh yeah, 대다 안에다 가르쳐서 통방당 공방 마신도 방도데 아니 셀기 아니 야 정당다 배자니 se sale tangi pier jondanda pejani ane sa chu to ka su de so imbare
So the analogy that which is used to illustrate the way abandonments are accomplished on the path of seeing, on the path of meditation, is just like how you purify gold of its impurities. The example, that is the example which is often used.
다 순종원지 교육 도의 가수 안에 간데서 숨바래서나 산재기 틀에 덤비 제나 안에 간데서 그래서나 누부 캔지 안에 누부 종이 림바당 숨tum바 안에 셈지 트마 jon다데 마순 거인 말이야.
So in the sutra of requested by this king Dharanishwara, then in this sutra, what is mentioned is how the activities of the Buddha then helps in that purification. And the example that is utilized is when you take a gem, how you sort of process that gem until you get the final cut, like that.
or 간데에서나 아니 도단 트바 소지 아니 마다비 아니 누부름보치 빼세네 다디 누부름보치기 아니 트마테단 도단 트바나 소와 장에기 빼제니 대 아니 트마 존재달라 름바숨 여만하시 제니 아니 심주기 트마 존재달라야 름바숨 두스마 아샤고아레.
So when a gem is first excavated from the rocks or the ground, then it goes through three major stages of cleaning up or purifying it. In the same way, then you based on that example, then showing the three main stages of purifying our own mind stream.
Tapi kaso kandusuare sana ani nubu kan kyawa nubu jongwe chu lebar shewa tegi ani nubu rimboche langne ani nubu rimboche la jimdang duun jimbasana da sai du rwa jimbatang dula sowa ani yongsu mata bagi ani nubu rimboche de ya langne 아니 당보 가르래서나 마다바 세비 치도 누부름보치라 짐두기 거위 마다바데 세비 치도 아니 렌제추 넘보 세리가 추 차주 연계 아니 자속이 출라 바네 자속이 출라 바네 아니 달래 소와기 달래 체와기 레와스리가 짜이 다샤기다 레와스리가 라 가서들 레와스리가 주보티르게 남부 주보티르 잘라 대바기 레와기 아니 누구름보지 트마 연수 좀 하셔봐.
So in the case of a very skilled excavator who's looking for gems in the ground, who knows exactly what sort of ground to look into, is very knowledgeable, very skillful, and then finds this gemstone. So the first phase is to remove all the dirt, all the stone, to separate the dirt and the stone from the gem itself, from its impure state. And in order to do that, then, he will use salty water or these kind of different cleaning liquids to, the text says, in salty water, kind of like that. Whatever cleaning liquids are to sort of separate the gross dirt from the gem itself, and then you clean it up using a brush. And the text says matted hair, it says, but in modern day then you have these kind of rough brushes and things like that to clean it up.
Oh yeah, 대삼지 안에 누구 종이 전주 토르 마인바. 아니 대오도 아니 가르러 와서나 세기 구한 넘보 아니 야구라 바네 아니 발에 중하기 아니 라나 못인들기 아니 정말 정확해봐.
And so, all these efforts are still not enough to get that gem to the kind of the quality that you want. Besides that, then you further have to keep these gems kind of in kind of cleaning liquids, and then you take very fine or very kind of a soft cloth, and then you have to continuously brush on them.
Oh yeah, 다양 대담지 좀 봐도 많이 봐. 티오도 아니 매침비 쿠아 오주라 바네. 아니 레사모기 아니 배용수 정확해봐. 분들이 정말 용수 정확해봐.
And even this kind of effort is not sufficient. Still, you have to employ other chemicals, and it says medicine, other chemicals, and as well as like mercury and things like that to help further in the cleaning process and further sort of brushing up on it with a very fine, soft cloth.
다 용수 장데 처마단 차와나 다 빈도이 릭첨보 처마 탐자단 차와기 빈도이 릭첨보 전에 다 배이 가서 처마 차라바 독시름바 신도 장니 타르 빈도에 처마단 차와 영화테 벨라샤니.
So eventually, when it is completely free of all the dirt that you want to get out of that gem, then you have the final cut of that gem. After getting rid of from the most gross to the most subtle dirt, then you have the final, the finished product.
then 디시체베 아니 체메 용수 마다바기 아니 샘젠지 캄 라시네리와 샘젠지 캄데 아니 가소리 체네 용수 마다비 아니 샘젠 대다 아니 야 림바 신도 찌워제 도제 찌위 림바텔라 도제 찌위 림바텔라 다숨 다시 누부캔지 누부 존스 숨이여 봐 나체 트마타라 존스 숨이여 봐 나시 도자기 감종이 아니 림바텔라야 림바 숨 샤고와리.
So, like this example, then you have the Buddhas, you have the Tathagatas, like we're talking about this very skilled excavator who's very skilled in finding the gems like that. In the same way, then you have the Tathagatas, the Buddhas, of finding the disciples who are not purified of the defilements. Then enabling the sentient beings impure element, impure Buddha nature, the naturally abiding Buddha nature, then enabling it to be purified in a graduated stages. In graduated stages, and so in that graduated stage consists of three main stages by which they guide the sentient beings to that state of purification of the element of the Buddha nature.
다 통만 그들에서나 이 충의 삼바 당하라 남르나려와 나신 전에 이 충의 담아 최대 정도 만내비 아니 치와 미다바 템바당 그러나 치와 마다바당 템바당 아니 치네 아니 가소리 내가나 그 제수 자네 아니 개월연고와 인장 아니 안줄 제네 만지 동아 영주기 아니 이미 삼에 아니 뭔지 이미 삼네 아니 치망 안도 좀 미동와 아니 원도 지대 온도 가서 온도 되니 그 삼바 와 온도 되니 그 삼바 치마 단조기 댄사들이 이 삼바게 갱갱기 가사테 시리 체네 좋아.
So like this, then you have the path and practice of the first stage, which is the path and practice of the small scope, small capable beings path and practice, focusing in on impermanence and death, thinking that one is not going to live forever, that oneself has to die, and therefore when death happens, then upon death, what one has to follow is the virtuous and non-virtuous karmic propensities. And that being the case, then if one was to be reborn in the lower realms, then one should take the opportunity to think about the sufferings of the lower realms and the shortcomings of such an existence, and thereby generate the wish or the interest to attain a higher rebirth, such as a perfume rebirth.
인상 되네 다 되나 순전의 숨바기 콜로 판다숨 세일가라 순전의 숨비 콜로 판다숨 세야되라 탐비 규민바체 이외 코알라 초와체 숨비 특전남도 두와체 자니 도시자야지 요아래 인상 탐비 규민바체 세가 다 텐더에 강사되라 단 규민바체가 가래 고구래 세일가라 아니 가소래 돈이 때에 터지지 권반나마 퇴대인 전에 아니 남들그 나라 수만 나신 전에 코알라 터지 뭐데 아니 가르래서나 돈이 때에 따와지 말에 돈이 그 따와 맞게 그 공대라 권반나마 퇴대인 세리가라 아니 대신 미사기 대신 미다바 주주 제대 내라 로라 차라지고 내와지고 그 말이 인상 주민시 민주그 규태라 나 가르래 세르가나 년대 이나래 라산제 년대 주라면 중간 이나야래 라산제 지람라 중간 이나야래 티징그 라라 중간 간제지 이나야 토마 가르삼로 땅고래 세르가나 티징메다 레동아 동아라네 담에송 세르가나 남들의 수완나신 동아지라신 인바 삼전 탐제 가서 사제년의 이 풍부디 탐제 동아지라신 인바 세가라 동아와 세대 상로다에 라 동아댐 규면바치 가라 동아와 아니 깨지 그 지진 아니 가서 깨지 그 지병 안주 장인바 랑투지 깨지 니와나 메데바 깨지는 지병 안주 장인바 미다 바세데체 미다 동아세 깨지 그 지바템 통보도 주변에 대한 직접 이게 유대양 내다 뉴몽기 깨지 그 지병 안수제连그 샤완도 출외 통보지 인바인상 동아와 미다바다 동아와 스티바레
we can and thereby generate the interest to attain a higher rebirth, such as perfume rebirth, and creating causes so that one may have the result of such a rebirth. So when we talk about the three stages, in one context, then it can be understood as first to enable the ripening of the mind. First to enable the ripening of the mind, and second, then enable the liberation out of cyclic existence, and third, to lead them or guide them into the Mayana path. So in the Pramana Vartika, then it states that what actually liberates one from samsaric existence is the direct realization of emptiness. Direct realization of emptiness is the only thing that will liberate us from samsaric existence. But before that can happen, before direct realization of emptiness can happen, prior to that, then one must have the clear ascertainment of the Four Noble Truths, the 16 attributes of the 16 attributes of the Four Noble Truths. And of course, prior to that, then at least one's mind has to be ripened. Some ripening of the mind has to be there in order to have that kind of clear understanding of what the Four Noble Truths are. And so what it means to have a ripening of the mind, then it means to have some sort of an engagement in a path, whether it is a hearer's path or subtlety realizer's path or the Mahayana path. First be engaged in a path, and in that path, then the first thing to take into account is the realization of the suffering nature of existence. These contaminated, appropriated aggregates, which is in the nature of suffering, and reflecting on that. And not only is it in the nature of suffering that it is constantly going through changes from moment to moment, from the very time of birth. Then it has been that it is continuously going through a state of destruction. In this way, reflecting on impermanence and death. And so, what has brought on this kind of suffering nature and this kind of phenomenon of constant state of destruction from moment to moment is because these aggregates are the result of afflictions and this action karma. So in this way, then, as a way of ripening one's mind, then one needs to reflect on suffering and suffering nature of existence and impermanence.
Oh yeah, degi midabada dunga wa aseche. Ta degi dame ba asede, ane khasa ranja tuwe zayu ki tongba, zabe kabe dame ba asede, dame chamo ma yinba che. Ane ranjiba menje ki dengengi. ane kansa dame, kansa ranjawe, ranjawe, kansa ranjawe dame ba sede, dame ba di che. Teni kowa mizangwe tondu longwe, mizangwa shibo seye gana, mizangwa shibo seye dunga lan dewa chimba, midaba lan daba chimba, dunga lan dewa chimba, ane kalsore. 다도 맞춰봐라 다도 좋았지마 다지 가르치 동아래 대화 좀 믿어봐라 다도 맞춰봐라 다봤지마
미상와라
미상와라 장와지마 어디서가라 니시오데 아니 동아대비 체주도 주비 동화기 로조데 임바리 동아대마들 체주시도 합니다 동아 다메바 미자민제 소주 강위 아니 풍보대 라완도 맞추바 스나 동화라 지기와리 인자다 간제 미자와 15대 때네 아니 코카소리 코아 메이나 메이 통도 치바 치바 나신 이제 치바달라 아니 이충의 내중 제대 是吧？我提到了事情，你看说了事情，你搞完了，光把这了事情搞完了，你脚下见你，到那看的时候呢，视频电话了，脚下见你。当然，我真的的视频电话了，你就考完了就比已经结巴了，但我把这话的，唐不的听吧的，就明白去吧，是的，
So the first point is, reflecting on suffering and impermanence, death, and then reflecting on selflessness. Not the subtle selflessness, but even the understanding of the gross selflessness, which is a person being empty of, substantial self-sufficiently, substantially existent, being a person being empty of that. A person being empty of, self-sufficiently, substantially existent. Not the subtle selflessness. So the kind of the selflessness that is propounded by a solitary, by a pratyeka, a solitary realizer, and so reflecting on the fact of how we hold on to what in reality is actually suffering, then thinking of it in terms of only as happiness, what in reality is actually impermanent, then our mind only seeing the permanence of all of that. What in fact is impure, then we hold on to it as something pure, such as our aggregates, the components of which is actually referred to as these 36 impurities that make up our body. Then we look upon it as something very pure, and and what in fact is selfless, then we hold on to it as self-existence. So, when we talk about, being caught up in the pit fire of our samsaric existence, then this is how we are caught up in our own, samsaric existence. With regards to the first noble truth, the truth of suffering. The reality of suffering, then these are the points by which we reflect on suffering, the impermanence, empty, dungentembe kechishide mita
Dungawa tameba.
Mita toa
Tameba.
Kechushi.
Midaba dungawa tameba.
So, the four attributes of the first noble truth of suffering, which is impermanence, suffering, empty, selfless. So, reflecting on these points, and on the basis of this reflection, then what is to be generated is an extreme sense of aversion to one's suffering nature of existence. That one develops a sense of aversion to the pleasures of our samsaric existence, and thereby generates a thought of definite emergence. The thought that one generates the sense of renunciation, the thought to definitely to get out of this type of existence. And when this occurs, this is equivalent to the ripening of our mind.
오야 단 니기 아니 가서 코에 님보 밥에 쳐도와 아니 가사다 쳐지 다음에 참어 콘도 마치 바체 또 뭐니봐 아니 우트다 오마다 투모와기 아니 냠스 라자기 가사 그 다음에 또 가사 그 다음에 또와 어떤 게 되대 내가 아니 가서 답이 나왔습니다. 담보 주바 김멤버를 채네 아니 나왔으나 봐 주바차 나와를 못으나 남바 주바차바데 순자는 담비 순표 코로 담보들이 김멤버 채지 말에 인산 뒤 다음에 세대 돈이 도박이 금민지 란자 TV 자유 그 담바 다음에 라발라 마도 다음에 참올라 마샤바 임바래
So for such individuals, with the wish to apply the antidotes to his or her own respective cyclic existence, samsaric existence, then comes to reflect on the selflessness of a person, not the subtle selflessness of the person, but the selflessness of a person as propounded in the in the lower tenets, a person being empty of a self-sufficient, substantial existence, and on the basis of this, then undertakes the three higher forms of training. Then we would say is the ripening of the mind of the lower vehicle, lesser vehicles, ripening of the mind.
Sunjane Sumbagi, Anu Kolo Pata Sumbote, Kansa Chig, and the Rimba Shindu, Tambi Mimbache, Kolo Tapapa Digi, Anu Koala Chawache, Anu Sumbe, Tijanam the Tuwachenga. That the Kaso Tambo and teaching to Rimangeba, the Tendechina, Tendechiki Juche to the Kansa Chig Yamle Surkona Teache. Kasa yage gondela sumbi kolo sambi kolo panda simbotsena kasa jutadeke wanto rwa ambo kasa jutadeke ambo randu tu sunki wangi jutadeke wanto chene shaba kasa chaimba gondela sumbi kolo panda simbote gondela sumbi todo gondela sumbi kolo panda simbote kasa
dodenge swara gondes na
dodo gondi 좀 된데 도지 와리 콜로타마 콜로타마 도데 공데네 숨버기 아니 콜로탐보 타마 세디 간사 규타데비 고나셔 바레스 안보 넘보다 안보 두보다 안보 등라 쟤네서 쟤 간사 규타데비 단단 니 순자는 숨비 콜로 받아 숨보데 간사 찌기냐면 연주지 고나야 셔거레스 단다데 담보고 규메 바체 다 가사디 김민 사리가라 아니 순자네서 콜로니와디 가사디 코알라 토와 그탑데 라 코알라 토차니 아니 특진 예랑 그다좀 톱디자바 디인제라 아니 티바치벨람데 티바치야 그타마디 순자네서 콜라 타마디
So yesterday when we talk about the three vehicles, then that was from the presentation in the context of different individuals, in the case of different individuals, and that presentation follows after what is Gongde, the Santinimojana Sutra, follows after and so those three vehicles are presented from the point of view of different individuals. Here, the cycle of these three is presented here in this sutra requested by the King Dharanishwara. Then it is from the point of view of one individual, not three different individuals, but one individual. First, if this particular individual doesn't have the capacity for engagement to practice Mayana right away, then first cycle is to ripen this individual's mind, and then the second cycle is to enable the inspiration to get out of samsaric existence, and then the third cycle is to guide them into the Mayana path. So these three cycles presented in the context of this sutra is from the point of view of one individual's practice, whereas in accordance with this, when we refer to the three cycles of teachings or the three vehicles, in accordance with the Shantilimojana Sutra, then it's in relation to not one individual but different individuals of different capacity. So Tishan Kira.
Yeah.
It was mentioned today that the elements of violence naturally abide Buddha nature is classified as a non-associated compositional factor.
The Ranshineric said, Ranshineric Timat without defilements. Without defilement. Chita the Ranshinera is Dumacheswa. Because it is emptiness. Non-associated.
Non-associated compositional factor. Is that usually implied that aggregates the compositional factors not associated with the person?
Non-associated. I made a mistake. I made a mistake with this. It's a non-compositional factor. Non-compositional factor. Okay. Yeah. Demenduci labdoga inchitsekte. Dumachela. Demenduci lab. I did love that was a mistake. Okay. It was always a non-compositional factor. Okay. So because naturally abiding Buddha nature is permanent, so it's non-associated.
Ashi beje choshin do tang rao li chi yende genpa sanje shen do me de buwa ye choke nanda shen la chepa yidang guru rana mendra la kani yata ya mi chanju semjo ma je pa ta ge je je wa nyamba me pa ya kone pe wa yo
Shangande, Pendande, Wamalisho, Jerez, Wantensin, Gasoye, Chavez, Ide, Batu, Denyu, Jesuza, Lama, Gozera, Nanga, Tele, Sojo, Gavada, Los Anten, Bedrume, Sansu, Jejoe, Mesa, Tadu, Nejo, Jechambe, Boimami, Tembo, Toshin, Tensen, Gavo, Tanje, Kongwan, San, Lijan, Kongla, Tege, Chowen, Nesanje, Temba, Tadu, Jeju, Jechambe, Boye, Cheta, Kemba, Kundu, Sambo, Teyan, Teshin, Teta, Kunji, Jesu, Dalo, Jegawa, Dita, Tamje, Rabdung, Jisun, Shive, Jawat, Mowa, Kana, Chodung, Avadi, Dagi, Keve, Zawadu, Sambo, Jeje, Rabdung, Waji, Jeje, Jawo, Zonga, Bechizo, Namba, Bivada, Kiji, Sama, Tinja, Mali, Sama, Sho, Dada, Shenji, Disumdan, Devi, Sonye, La, Dene, Jawalos, Ayurin, Baju, Ji.